Welcome back. For those of you who don't know, my name is Leanna. I am a professional clicker trainer. This is Pepper and Wally. We are the Bunnies Brigade, and we're here to get people rethinking rabbit care by proving how intelligent rabbits really are. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 fun but also really useful tricks to train your rabbit. Why do I bang on so much about training rabbits? Because training is the best way for your rabbit to build confidence in you, as well as being the most effective way to overcome behavioral issues, granted your rabbit is fixed, of course. As with all our training videos, before we dig in, be sure you've watched our Clicker Training 101. In that video, I explain all the basics, how to introduce the clicker to your rabbit, and it will prepare you for any clicker trainer jargon I may throw your way. You can click on the card above to watch or find it in the description below. Now, tricks, yes, they look cute doing them and it's cool to impress your friends, but what's really happening is as you're working with your rabbit, they are learning to overcome instinctual fears that are unnecessary in a domestic environment. In turn, that enables them to come out of their shell, get to know you, and show their individual personalities. So I want to show you how to train 3 tricks that you thought were just for show and explain to you the benefits of them. The first trick is go round or circle or spin or whatever you'd like the command to be. And the reason I'm including this one as one of the 3 is because it's essentially a beginner trick. It's so easy to teach, which means it sets you and your rabbit up for success. It avoids any frustrations and leaves you both feeling empowered to train some more. It also encourages them to approach you and be comfortable engaging with you, which I know can be a big obstacle for many bunny parents. Now, there is also a command called sit pretty, which I will talk about more later. It's even easier to teach. In fact, your rabbit likely does it already. It has the same benefits as circle, it's just not as fun. And as promised, these are fun, useful tricks we're training here. Teaching go round uses the luring method, the most intuitive training method for us as the trainer to use. It's so simple. Step 1, show your rabbit a treat and then have them follow it round in a circle. Then click and reward. Sometimes your rabbit won't have the confidence to go all the way round in a circle to start. That's fine. Just click and reward them for following the treat part of the way round. Even if that means just a turn of the head. Remember, we must always try to set our pet up for success. It can also be extremely helpful to do target training with your rabbit. This can make all commands in which you need to use the luring method that much easier to teach. Target training is where a rabbit has to touch a target or follow and touch a target to receive his or her click and reward. Your hand can be a target or a stick with a ball of some sort attached to the end. I love these click sticks because they telescope to various lengths and they have a clicker built in. And these will be linked in the description. If your rabbit is target trained, they won't need to be lured around in a circle with a treat. They will understand that they have to follow your stick or hand around in a circle, which is step 2 of this training. Direct them around in a circle without a treat. Click as they're completing the movement and then present their treat. Remember, don't move on to the next step until they've mastered the previous one. Step 3 is lessening your hand movement. Let them complete a full turn without guiding them the whole way round. Aim to make your hand movements smaller and smaller, and eventually what you'll have is a gestural cue that they understand. Then step 4 is adding a verbal cue. As with adding any verbal cue, speak it as your rabbit performs the trick. Go round. So whilst they are in mid-spin, then say go round or spin or whatever you'd like it to be, and then click and reward. Work towards giving the cue earlier and earlier. Go round until you're asking them to go round. Go round. And they are able to correctly respond. Go round. You can even take this trick a step further as well if you like. Once you know they are consistently understanding your cue, you can try and create a little distance between you and your rabbit. This is a lot more advanced though, and depending on your rabbit's personality, they may find it hard to resist not approaching you. In which case, place training would be required. And guess what? We have a video on that already. Trick number 2, high five. It's a popular one, a very common trick for a dog, and it's just as easy to teach your rabbit. I think it's obvious why this is a fun one. It's just so cute. But how is this useful? Well, it's encouraging them to voluntarily touch you. So many people get upset about their rabbit not liking being touched. They feel their rabbit doesn't like them or is afraid of them. Yes, they may be afraid of you. But with high five, we can show them that touching you is a rewarding thing to do. And it's equally rewarding for you. Which brings it all back to the idea of bonding with your rabbit and why we train, if I haven't said it enough times. So some people purely use the luring method to teach high five, but I prefer to shape it. High five is a great introduction to the shaping method for you as the trainer. And I believe it gets your rabbit paying closer attention to you and gets their cogs turning even more. The first stage is teaching the sit pretty. I told you we'd talk more about sit pretty. I think sit pretty was one of the very first things I taught my rabbits because it's so foundational. A bit like sit for a dog, only without the expectation for them to hold it. You use a treat to lure them to reach up so that they're sitting back on their hind legs. Then click and let them have that treat. It's nice to work on this until you can use a verbal cue to request it and they will just do it, but that's not necessarily required to get to a high five. The next step on our high-fiving journey is getting your rabbit used to touching their paws on your hand. I like to label this Gimme 10. Now this step will help with nail trimming, as you can totally just stay in Gimme 10 land. You can work more on this behavior, moving your hand around with their paws in it, touching their nails. I did have someone ask about this, so this is something you can totally work on. How to teach it? Very simple. You have them perform the sit pretty, and as they're doing so, you gently bring your hand up to theirs and touch their paws. The moment you touch, click, and reward. It's likely that the first time you do this, it'll startle them a little, and that's fine. Let them have their moment. If they need it, they got their treat, so let them process. Oh, that felt strange, but I got a yummy thing. Was that worth it? They will come to the conclusion that yes, it was definitely worth it. Keep repeating this step until they're feeling comfortable with your hand meeting theirs. Whilst you work on this, you can also start to offer them your hand at the same time as you request the sit pretty. You will actually find that having your hand there becomes a reward in itself for them because they have a crutch to help them balance when they're on their hind legs. And with enough repetitions of this, they will actually begin to learn the hand gesture. Try removing the sit pretty lure and just offer the Gimme 10 hand. Remember, never rush them. Offer your hand in front of them and wait. Give them a chance to think and react accordingly. Don't pressure them. If they can't manage it yet, go back to asking for the sit pretty. I like to be very obvious as well when I offer my hand. I make a big, slow, sweeping movement right down in front of them, stopping at roughly their eye level. And as always, if they give you 10, click and reward. Now you just want to work at your own pace to gradually change the angle of your hand as you offer it. Some rabbits understand quicker than others. You might be able to jump straight into a vertical hand to request a solid high five. As far as I can remember, Pepper was straight onto it, and that's because it's in her nature just throw spaghetti at the wall, so to speak, offering as many behaviors as possible to find out what sticks. I digress. Stick to that same obvious movement as you present your hand. It will help your rabbit recognize what you're asking of them. And you can start adding your cue word at this point. As always, say your cue as your rabbit performs the action, then click and reward. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Then say it as they're about to perform the action, and eventually you'll get to the point where you can request it. Now, a high five is by nature a very visual thing anyway, as is obvious when we give each other high fives. So for this trick, you don't really have to add a verbal cue at all if you don't want, but it can totally help them understand you better, especially as you advance on to teach them other things. If you're finding value in this video, please give us a thumbs up, and if you're feeling generous, you can send us a super thanks by clicking the thanks button below. Your donation will help us bring you more great content. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when we publish. So the third trick we're going to talk about today is up. I like to use the command up, and it's really just a cue to request a hop up onto a higher surface like a sofa or bed, for example. But what's really useful and super adorable is hopping onto your lap. You can of course define it as lap if you like, and you are more than welcome to make a differentiation between up onto a sofa and up onto your lap. And there are benefits to doing that. That's a discussion for another time. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to use up in this video. Why is this one useful? Well, again, it rewards our rabbit for touching us. They can explore us and our weird, giant, lanky bodies. There are a lot of people who are desperate to cuddle with their bunnies, and they get upset when they discover their rabbit hates being picked up, so they think they can't cuddle with them. Now, we've been over this a fair few times now. As a general rule, picking a rabbit up is not how we cuddle with them, but teaching them to up onto your lap or your back or your belly, that is how we get our bunny cuddle fix. And then just like high five can lend itself to nail trimming, this can be used as a baby step toward training comfortability with being held. There are a number of ways you can begin teaching this command, and it'll be dependent on how outgoing your rabbit is. Your rabbit might already be clambering over you, especially if they know you have food. This might be the case if you have a very young rabbit who's testing their limits. So if this is you, then take advantage of this and capture the behavior. Click and reward when all 4 feet are on your lap. And so long as their feet stay on your lap, you can continue to dish out those nuggets. The moment they hop off of you, the nuggets stop. When they hop back on again, it gets another click and the nugget stream starts up again. A side note, you are going to need to use small, nutritious, non-sugary snacks for this. As I recommend in my 101 video, their regular pellets are perfect. Perhaps your rabbit is a little shy and reluctant to touch you, in which case you will need to lure and maybe even shape. Just like with Go Round, you can show them a treat or use a target stick and have them follow it onto your lap. If they are too anxious to hop up all the way at this point, that's okay. That just means it's going to take a little shaping. So you can go ahead and click and reward just the front paws or even a single paw touching your leg. Then you're going to repeat this over a number of sessions in order to develop more comfortability. And then you'll be building, as we always do, to get your rabbit to take a step further and further onto your lap until they have all 4 feet up. And at that point, you're just going to proceed as I already instructed those with an outgoing bunny. You're just going to keep that stream of snacks coming whilst they're on your lap and stop as soon as they leave. Then, you've probably guessed it, you've got to just keep reinforcing this as regularly as possible. Once a day, every other day. I mean, you can do it once a week, but you're going to see some pretty slow growth if you choose to do that. Gradually reduce the amount of treats you're offering and be adding your cue word. I'm going to hope you understand how to add a cue word by now, seeing as I've explained it twice in this video, and I explain it very concisely in my 101 video. One more thing to add before I get a load of comments about how people can't even get their rabbit to come out from under their bed or something. Rabbits are crepuscular. That means they are most active in the mornings and evenings. It's best to make training sessions at these times when they're up and active and their brains are firing on all cylinders. Don't be waking people up in the middle of the night and making them solve complex equations. I'm hoping you're getting the metaphor here. And if you are struggling to get your rabbit to simply approach you during these waking hours, then you need to take it even further back to basic trust building exercises. I've got a video that covers that for you here, and there's another training video for you to check out as well. Until next time. Oh my god. Like your sofa or bed, for example. Are you being good?